Hi everybody and welcome. We're going to work on, I guess you could say, dirtying up some text. We're going to create some graffiti on a brick wall and kind of make it grungy, old style, old school, whatever you want to call it. First thing we need to do though is get this image looking a little bit more robust, true to color. I'm going to do kind of a cheating version of color correction. I'm going to do a Control L to bring up levels, and I'm pretty confident that this pole right here is pretty white, so I'm going to click on that. And I need a really dark, so I'm going to go up here in the very top, right where that staircase and the brick meet. Click there. And I don't know about where my middle gray is. That's what we need for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. I've got those two. I'm going to bring up the oops, wrong choice there. Bring up the curves. And I need to look up in here. You see we're in the neighborhood right there of a middle gray. So I'm going to hold down my Control Command on a Mac, my space bar, and I'm going to click and drag that to really enlarge it till I get to the pixel size, until I do. And now we kind of go fishing, trying to find that middle gray, which has to hit right there, dead center. So we click in here, and that's a little too dark, a little too light. So we, like I say, we go fishing until we find that one's. We're getting really close. Oop, right there it is. So to set a target there, I can go ahead and hold my Shift key down and click right on that pixel. And see, now we've got a target. So I'm going to go over here and click the middle gray eyedropper and come right over here to the target. Sample that. Click OK. Make this smaller so we can see it. So I'm going to hold down the Control Command on a Macintosh and hit 0. And it looks a lot more robust as far as color goes, but a little over the top with red. So I'm going to do another Control L to bring up my levels, and I'm going to click on the channel red, and I'm just going to move my middle slider here a little bit to the right and kill that. See how it kind of radiates everywhere, the red. We can take it all the way back pretty much the way it was, but right in there I'm comfortable with. So we click OK, look at our history, and this is the way it looked when we opened it, and this is the way it is now. Okay, so we've got that part right. Now we need to be back on the layers palette, and we need to create some text here. So I'm going to click on the type tool or just press the letter T, and I'm going to put my name in. You can put your name in, whatever you want to do. I'm just going to type in Steve, and I prefer right now just to work with white text so I can see it better. And I'm using Rave, R-A-V-I-E, Rave. I don't really know how to pronounce it. Apologize for that. But I'm going to make this bounding box a lot smaller so I can transform this better. So now just click the Move tool or come up here and click the check box, and that takes care of the transformation, or the box around the text box. And we'll do a Control T to transform this, and now we can stretch that out and make it much bigger. Now I'm actually going to Control click and kind of move that corner up so it lines up with the top of these windows better. Remember, if you just click that without the control key down, it's just going to resize. But if you hold the control key down, you can swing it. And we can, right in there, looks okay, and I'm going to drag that out a little bit more. And we can just hit enter, or we can double click right inside the bounding box, and we have our graffiti text. And there's lots of other text I could have played with, but I kind of like this one, RAVIE. So next step we need to take is to make it look like something that actually somebody painted on a wall. This doesn't look very painted, it just looks like I created some text there. So to do that, we're going to go down to the FX button, and I'm just going to click on where it says blending options, which is the first thing. Let me move it up so you can believe me. Blending options, which brings up the big box, real big box. And we can go up to styles, and we can click on all these styles, and if you don't have all of these styles, what's wrong? No, I've loaded a ton of them, but they're all inside Photoshop. These aren't a bunch of styles that I've gone somewhere else and downloaded. If you click this little gear right here, it lets you, let's move this over a little bit, it lets you download or put into this box all of these, and there's lots of different styles under each one of these names. I think there's, I could actually start all over because I don't think I have them all loaded in here, but you can see what each one's going to do. Some of them are obviously more interesting than others. This is just about texture. This one's, under some circumstances it might be kind of cool. That's not bad. That's kind of interesting. There's lots of different ones here. And maybe go on up here, try some of these. Well, I settled on this one. This one's fine. Now that I've got the size and the font and everything, I'm going to go ahead and click OK, because I'm going to actually transform this again. Control T, so I can maybe make that a little bit bigger. Holding down the control key again and stretch it out a little bit. I want it in there in the middle, but I want it big enough so I can tell what's going on. Alright, so we've got all of these wonderful eyeballs underneath the Steve, and you see kind of what each one of them does. We can probably be better off turning off the drop shadow, and let's just go ahead and double click the FX button, go back in here, because I think a stroke on there would look kind of good. So if you click right on the word stroke, you can change the color of the stroke right here. It can be whatever color you want. It's totally up to you. But I'm going to go with black, and you can make it however big you want. So we can make it gigantic. We can make it much smaller. Let's try 2 and click OK. So this is just something fast to put together so you can see how this is done. I recommend after you do that, click on the layer below it, which is the background layer, and then click on the new layer icon. So we just want a blank layer, because we don't want all of these separate things that we did in the special effects. So what we're going to do is go up to this word, Steve, and collapse it onto level 1 or layer 1. Control E or Command E on a Mac will do that. So it's right here now on this layer. We can't any longer edit it as text. So once you do that, be aware that's what's going to happen. So now we're going to go click on the special effects again, click on blending options, and what we're going to do down here at the bottom, let's move it down here, the blending options is blend if gray is on. We can drag these sliders. You see different things happening. Check this out. We can actually see the mortar between the bricks showing through, and then we've got the slider on this side. But notice the little triangles are split in half. See a dividing line in them? If you hold down the Alt key, Option key on a Mac, you can more finely control these. And we can go as far as we want to. And we can also work these sliders. If you think it's better just to go, keep them together and go all the way, that's totally your call. That's what this is all about. But if we zoom in, sorry about that, you can see the mortar between them. So it's got kind of a nice effect there. And it totally looks like it's painted over the top. Alright, but we can do this another way. And this is the old, easier way to do it. Let's get rid of this layer 1. Click the little trash can. And we'll do the same thing with Steve again. We'll just put Steve in there. And I'll go through this a lot faster. And Control T that, move it over. And Control T again to make it bigger. Hold down the Control key. And double click. So now we have that. We can go into the blend modes again to make it look. I'm doing blending options is what I'm clicking on, and then I go up to styles, and let's try this one just for fun or something like that. Nah, there's so many to play with. See what that one looks like. And you can go in here and change the way these different things look, how they're affected, and so forth. Okay, now what we want to do is create a layer mask. So the round donut right here, square donut, sorry, and put that on there, and we're going to paint with a paintbrush to basically kind of make this go away. We want it to be on 100%, and go over and find a grungy looking brush is basically what I did. Mine is like a 90 if I can find it. Let's go over here. Sometimes I can find things easier here. Yeah, there's a 90. And if I hover over it, you see it's sampled tip. So there's like a leaf next to it, scattered leaves. You may not have this brush in yours. Again, if you want to download more brushes, you go up here to the little box, and you can download all of these brushes into Photoshop. Remember, click right up here on the window and the little gear. The little gear is what lets you download all kinds of cool stuff. So if we don't have any control over hardness, and that's kind of a bummer. There are very few that allow us to do that. But what we're going to do is paint in the mask and kind of, well, I didn't do the thing that I did earlier. I need to go down here and click on the background layer, create a new layer, because we're dealing with separations of different effects here. So do a Control E, Command E on a Mac, and now when we erase and we're painting with gray, my bad, didn't put the mask back on now, did I? So Control Alt Z a couple of times, the square donut to create the mask. Whoop, sorry, gotta drop that down again. Control E. I backed up too far. Now the square donut. Now we paint with black, and if black and white aren't on top here, just press the letter D to bring up black and white. Make sure that the mask is the thing that the brackets are around, the white brackets. Make sure black is on top. If it's not, press the letter X. X will toggle white and black. And now we just paint with a grungy brush until we're satisfied with the way it looks. And let's zoom in a little bit. And remember, we're just doing this on a layer mask. If we're not happy, let's just say that I don't like the way the E is pretty much all gone. I come over here to the colors, black and white, and click the little arrow to bring white up, or press the letter X. And now when I paint, I'm painting it back in. We're painting in that mask. So we've got it all back. We can do that for all of them. We can paint them all back in again, and then switch back to black and start going for the grunge again. We can make this bigger and hit it and really drastic, and smaller. Left bracket key, right bracket key. So some of you may prefer to go that direction. You have options. All right, that's it for this time. Talk to you all later. Bye bye. There's always one more thing with me, isn't there? Well, here we are again. One more thing. Notice I created the McLaughlin down here on its own layer, and if I can move it anywhere I want. I made it for this brick right in here. If I go back and let me show you again, I click on the FX button and I'm going to blending options again. Bring that back down. And I move my underlying layer. If I move it to the left, watch what happens. The white pretty well starts, coming through. The colors here drop out. If I move this up, let me click on that, and if I get it, see that white's trying to come through on these window sills. So if I go back to blending options again and go further to the left, you see that all the white starts coming through, and then other colors start coming through too. So I wanted to point that out to you. I'm going to move this back down and just use my arrow key to kind of precisely place this where I want. And back to the blending mode, and I'm going to drag my slider to the left a little bit to get behind the pole. And I need to actually hold down my Alt key and split some of that and let that white shine through the letters better. And I'm going to split it again with the Alt key and come a little bit over here and just like before, you got to play with it. Now remember, this up here was done with the brush. This down here we're just doing with this. We can also drag these other sliders. I split it with the Alt key, so it gives you even more options. That kind of kills the black around it. And click OK, and I zoom in a little bit. You can see what it's done. And we can go ahead and put a or a layer mask on this too, and come up with the grunge brush and do a little bit more work to make this even better. And full screen, Control-0, Command-0 on Mac, and I'm satisfied with it. As a quick aside, I wanted to just throw in some black text, and this can be regular text, and I'll show you that in a second, but this works very, very well. Go into the blending options, and I'm just going to drag this down. I'm not going to split it with the Alt key. But you see what's going on there with the text. Looks pretty good already, just dragging those without even splitting them. You can go as far as you want. Again, though, Alt key gives you greater control over it. I didn't split that, did I? There we go. And then we bring this other one down a little bit at a time. And we can even try, whoa, that went away in a hurry, didn't it? That's the trouble with black text. What about if we just used a more standard font, and we'll just change that to Times, and I just type Times in there and hit enter. So now the text is Times, and just click that, and notice it went ahead and used the same. I'm going to double click on our blending options there, and it still kept our changes here. And we can click OK with that. So you can see regular text works kind of cool too. If you really want to just give something an old effect, if you want to put text on a wanted poster or something like that, or on wood, it will drop out on the grains of wood. So it can be effective in several different ways. See y'all later. Bye-bye.